Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome or welcome back. In this video, I'll be sharing a VR to Casper over at Boy Diviner and his tag favorite card backs. I think in the process that I am breaking my own record in terms of making a VR really fucking late. So folks know that I am not very quick on VRs a lot of the time. Sometimes, I can get in there within 10 days or so, but most of the time, not. This is a record though, I think. Casper made the tag favorite card backs in September 2020. It is October 2022. So, when I plan to do a YouTube video, whether it's a tag or something else, I put it in a Word document on my computer called YouTube To Do, descriptive. And I make notes in there, and if I see a tag that I'd like to respond to, I copy the link to the original video and the prompts so that it's there when I have some time to make a video. So the link to Casper's video has been sitting in a word processor document on my desktop for over 2 years, and it just made its way to the bottom of the list. And here I am in 2022. So favorite card backs is pretty self-explanatory. Decks in our collection with backs that we like. I just went to my shelf where all of my decks live and pulled out 7 that, when I saw them sitting there on the shelf, I thought, oh, I really like the back of that deck, and, ended up with 7 of them. So without further ado, this has been 2 years of ado at this point, I will share with you my favorite deck backs. And, I don't necessarily have a complicated rationale for loving them other than that they're just the ones that appeal to me. So here we go. The first one I chose is actually a Lenormand deck. I have a really small Lenormand collection, very, very few, but it does include 2 copies of this deck, Story in Color Lenormand by Kelly Fitzgerald. It came in 2 sizes, that's why I have 2 of them. And it has this beautiful rainbow watercolor on the back. And when I see this deck sitting face down, and face down is how I leave my decks on my table, it just makes me happy to see it. And this deck is my favorite Lenormand deck. It's inclusive. It's bright. It is clear without being overtly representational in the way that a lot of Lenormand decks are. It has the playing card association. Love this deck. And it has these beautiful backs that I think suit it really well, and I like to see them. So that's the first deck. The next deck has a back that I really like as well, which is not very colorful at all. In fact, the next 2 are not very colorful at all. So that's the Deviant Moon. I've edged mine in black. This is a mass market, borderless Deviant Moon. And this back, I just think, is really nice looking. It's very simple. I feel like for some folks, they might find the artwork of this deck busy. I really like this deck, but I think that the very simple back really suits the deck well. And Patrick Valenza, who created this deck, has very textural artwork because he takes photos of things and then uses those textures in the art. So you can see in kind of the ground, for example, that this is photographic. Right? It gives the art a really textural quality, and that is reproduced on the back, which hopefully you can see this cracking effect. So the back is very textured as well, while also being very simple. And I think that this deck looks great sitting on a table as well. And the back, is why. I really like the simplicity of it compared to, we'll say, the complexity of the artwork on the front. So, very simple, but I think very effective, reversible, which I do like in a card back. For tarot. For other systems, I don't care so much if I'm not going to use reversals. Tarot, sometimes I do. So I like to have that option, and I really like this deck for that. Another that I really love for fairly similar reasons actually is the back of the Marigold Tarot by Amrit Brar. This is a deck that is textured because it is on linen cardstock. You'll be able to see that texture there. And the back isn't quite metallic like the very metallic edging, but it does have a kind of shine to it. And you know, this is also a deck with a very rich, complex, very detailed artwork. And so with artwork that has so much detail in it, I do quite like that the back is fairly simple. It's fairly plain. You know, it's beautiful, and it mirrors the border on the front of the cards with this marigold detailing. So it's very cohesive with the deck and with the style of the deck's artwork. But it's also, you know, you're never going to mistake the back of the card for a front of a card, which is good, even though, you know, it's clearly the same deck. It feels a little bit like a playing card back in some ways to me. It looks beautiful on a table, like with this gold. By candlelight especially. If you're reading by candlelight, which sometimes I will, this is perfection, I think. And again, reversible. Really pretty. And of course it has the marigold, and the name of the deck is the Marigold Tarot, so it's very fitting in that way. So this is a back that I really like. I also chose the Lamback Tarot and Oracle of Colonization by Auntie Kay's Tarot. And this one has a birch bark backing. And this one is not quite reversible, but certainly if I shuffle this deck reversed, I don't notice, you know, it's close enough to reversible that I think it functions as a reversible friendly deck if you want to read with reversals. And I just really like how this looks. And as a practitioner of Druidry with a nature-based spiritual practice, you know, I have willow branches on my reading table. I have other natural items around, rocks or bits of herbs and things that are from outdoors where I live. And you know, there are lots of birch trees where I live, and so this just really fits right there. And I think that it, you know, suits the deck so well. The deck is very, very colorful. I'm gonna drop everything. Okay, there we go. The deck is very, very colorful. And so the back being, you know, it's not monochromatic, but being more subtle, we'll say, I think is really nice. And I just really love this. I think that the backing is perfect. I think it's perfect for the deck. And I like looking at it when it's sitting on my table amidst the branches and the rocks. I think that it's perfect for the deck. I love that. From Lamback Tarot. I also really like the backing of the Hollow Valley Tarot. This one has a image on it with moths and plants. You can see it's quite detailed line work there, but it's also quite subtle kind of a back. And I like this back because it reverses the style of the front of the card. So I'm going to put them down and only show a few so that I don't make a big mess. The fronts of the cards have this kind of, it's not quite white, but it's close to white background with black details. And so I really like that the back of the deck does the exact opposite. I think that it suits the deck really, really well, while again making it very easy to spot if you had accidentally reversed a card and had some cards back to front. It's really easy to pick out whether you're looking at the back of the deck or the front, to sort the cards if you needed to, but it looks very much like it belongs in the deck. These exact moss and flowers are probably in the deck, actually, if I had to guess. Again, it's reversible, and similar to, I would say, the Deviant Moon or the Marigold Tarot. It's a more minimal representation than what you're going to see on the fronts of the cards, but it is a representation of kind of the style of the artwork of the deck. And I really like that in a card back, apparently. I've seen this coming through as a bit of a pattern. Similarly, I really like the backs of the Pacific Northwest Tarot. And this is another deck with quite a colorful and wide-ranging color palette, with a very neutral back that matches the matte kind of gray gilding. The deck comes like this. I didn't do that. And the backs kind of match it. It's almost a little bit metallic in the back, but not quite. It's not like foiled. But the gold is definitely like a little bit metallic looking. Reversible. Again, quite simple. Looks beautiful sitting on the table. And then you get this beautiful bright colors when you turn your cards over, which I love. So, another favorite deck back. And the last one that I will show you, a deck back that I really like, is from the Nomad Tarot. This is a deck by Jennifer Drantel. I'm not sure if this is in print anymore. It's a pip deck. And this one has backs that are kind of tie-dye looking. And I like that they're kind of tie-dye looking. It feels like a pattern. It is not quite 100% reversible, but it's very close. So if I was to shuffle this deck with reversals, which I would actually with this deck read it with reversals, it functions as a fully reversible back would, in my opinion. This deck is a limited color palette deck, as you can see. And so I like that the backings pretty much stick to that, but also not quite, right? Not quite, because there's a lot of shading here. So they're a little bit different from what you would see if you look at the front. I'll just grab a, oh yeah, this one. Things that I wish were explained in the guidebook. The chicken for strength. You can see, like, it's quite different actually in style between the front and the back. And yet, by sticking close to the limited color palette, I think that it works. I mean, I don't think this is actually tie-dye, but I like tie-dye, so it reminds me of that, and I think that that's fun. So, it also, I think, makes clear, it's hard to tell in videos, I think, that this deck actually is, I think, a very dark navy. It looks black and white, but it is actually, I think, a very, very dark blue, and so you get a little bit more of that. And this is probably going to look gray on camera, but you get a little bit more of that in the backs in a way that I think is fun. So, those are some of the deck backs in my collection that jumped out at me when I saw the decks on the shelf as some of my favorite card backs. I really enjoyed seeing other folks' VRs to this tag, 2 years ago. And I'm happy to be finally joining in with my own VR, albeit really, really late. If other folks will make a VR now, I will also enjoy that. Thank you to Casper for creating the tag, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Have a good one.